Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the Professor, and this is the Moment of Truth. You can tell that moron DeSantis is already trying to dip his crooked little toes into the waters of a 2028 presidential bid. He's off to a rough start. With less than 2 years in office, he knows that he needs to do something. But what? Back in February, his own Republicans in the state legislature took away his ability to have illegal aliens flued out to Martha's Vineyard and elsewhere. Instead, these Republicans put together a legislative package that they called the Trump Act. No pun, that's what they called it. And it basically says that any illegal alien transport schemes that DeSantis plans in the future have to take place under the control and supervision of ICE. Well, so much for him trying to get more headlines, but that hasn't stopped him from saying that he's going to put together his own statewide illegal immigration crackdown team. I sure hope this one goes a lot better than his illegal voter crackdown team. And remember how this idiot was talking about how people were flooding into Florida? Florida's the state that everyone's going to, right? Well, now they're flooding out of the state. The insurance crisis has become a full-blown catastrophe now, and the racist rubes who thought it was so cute to vote for an open anti-black bigot are now losing their homes because they can't get insurance, to say nothing of Florida's property taxes, which are completely out of control, and even the few people who can afford to pay it are not happy about it. But hey, that's not important. What really matters is that they can teach kids in school lies like slavery was a good thing. Take that to the insurance company next time you have a claim. Even the chumps over at Fox Networks can't deny it. Insurance rates are going up, and so are U-Haul rentals. Now a ton of people are looking to sell their homes and flee elsewhere to a state that actually has a real government. DeSantis in particular has been the main person trying to fight a war against left-wing acronyms and talking points. He became the poster boy for hating anything woke, though he couldn't tell anybody what it was, though the way he acted in his mind it clearly meant anything associated with black people. So DeSantis began telling everyone he was going to go to war with woke. That's all he talked about. Woke this, woke that, woke everything. He said that all of America was behind him. And how did DeSantis' war on woke go? He got crushed so badly in the 2024 primary that there was no contest. So what's the dumbest governor in America been up to these days? Most recently, he's gotten himself embroiled in yet another scandal. It all started when he and his wife claimed that they wanted to put together a private sector alternative to Florida's state-funded welfare programs. They called their scheme Hope Florida. The idea behind it, allegedly, was that Hope Florida would connect low-income families with churches and local groups that might help them with housing, food, or other needs so that they wouldn't have to get government assistance. The Hope Florida Foundation is its nonprofit fundraising arm, and DeSantis' wife Casey was put in charge of it. This was supposed to be their idea of model legislation for turning Florida into some kind of conservative paradise. But it was just another example of how all the white rights talk about privatization is nothing more than a feeble front for them to siphon government money. The DeSantis' Hope Florida Foundation received $10 million that came from a settlement from a Medicaid contractor who had been grossly overbilling the state. And what happened to that $10 million? It went straight to 2 nonprofit political action committees who then sent the money on to a group called Keep Florida Clean. It's a political action committee that was formed to help DeSantis defeat a ballot initiative to legalize marijuana last November. Between October and December, Keep Florida Clean sent $10.5 million to the Republican Party of Florida and $1.1 million to the Florida Freedom Fund. And what is the Florida Freedom Fund? It's Ron DeSantis' own political action committee. So DeSantis' PAC got a cut of the money that originated with his wife's organization. And who was in charge of Keep Florida Clean and DeSantis' Florida Freedom Fund? A guy named James Uthmeyer, who was DeSantis' chief of staff. Talk about irony. All this dirty money floating around to a group calling itself Keep Florida Clean. Yeah, that's how you know DeSantis was behind it. You have one of the most racist and the most low-down, dishonest, and incompetent governor in America, with his shrew of a wife who's not qualified to do anything other than stand there like a potted plant. What could possibly go wrong? In a remarkable bit of actual legislative independence, Florida's Republican-controlled state legislators actually tried to get the financial records of Hope Florida, but they were thwarted. The 2 directors of the nonprofits that got the money in the first place, they refused to voluntarily testify about it. The chairman of the Hope Florida Foundation Board said that there had been bookkeeping lapses and other errors, but he's promising to push for more transparency. Yeah, he'll be pushing for it, just not today or any other day. One Florida Republican legislator is calling this fiasco a potential conspiracy to commit money laundering and wire fraud. DeSantis is claiming that all of these Republican legislators are in league with the Democrats. This after years and years of them literally sitting on their hands and handing all of their legislative authority over to the governor, making DeSantis basically into a unitary executive. And now he's claiming that those exact same slavish punks who did his bidding for years and made him basically a dictator in all but name over the state, now he's claiming they're in league with the Democrats. Anyone with half a brain knows that that's ridiculous, because the Democrats have not been using this as a political wedge or to try to put any sort of heat or pressure on DeSantis. None of them's running on a platform of put us in office and we're going to make sure that people get prosecuted. We're going to go ahead and make sure that all of these guys get lined up and dragged into court. You don't see Democrats trying to use this as an opportunity to say, let's go ahead and have ourselves a righteous witch hunt against the DeSantis regime. This is the same DeSantis who wanted to take over schools and even Disney World because he said that they were wasting money. Was that really a complaint on his part, or was it envy? Well, DeSantis is going to be leaving office after next year's election, no matter what scheme he tries to come up with. And there's talk about his wife wanting to run for governor. Between her and Michelle Obama, I can't imagine which one of them's more full of themselves. DeSantis has done more than enough legally suspect, if not outright illegal actions, that he should be jammed up with a ton of civil and even criminal cases. And the same should go for his Timu Joseph Goebbels, Chris Rufo. That clown should have already been in court for defaming and lying about the authors and books and school teachers and having all of these people costing them their livelihoods based on his lies. But we know the Democrats are not concerned with that. They want Republicans to be attacking black people under the guise of woke, because the truth is the war on woke, which is actually a war on black people, began with the Democrats. Barack Obama was the very first public person of note to attack quote-unquote wokeness directly. And why did he do it? Because originally the term came to prominence because of BLM protesters. Waking people up to the evil of the enforcement arm of white supremacy was a threat that the bootlicking chief couldn't ignore. So he was the first major figure to attack woke. And so we gotta stop all this woke stuff, gotta stop all this woke. And then on cue, all of these white politicians from the Democrats and then Republicans followed suit. And it was completely predictable that the white right would use woke as a euphemism for black, because they've done it with practically every word they can find, including the word thug, which Barack Obama also used as a pejorative against specifically black protesters. Democrats wanted for this to happen, because the demands that black people have been making are the kind that would force white society to give up its power. And Democrats are as dedicated to protecting the racial status quo as the Republicans. All of these illegal and unconstitutional policies from the white right, and not one Democrat has run on a platform of rolling that mess back or punishing the white right for it, or putting in place legislation that's meant to reinforce all of these programs and initiatives and laws that the Republicans have been attacking. The Democrats have not pledged to do any of that. In fact, you've seen how the left corner of the white media has pushed a narrative and talking points that come straight from DNC headquarters, that all of these Democrats, well, they're being realist, they're being pragmatic. They can't listen to the demands that are coming from these far leftist extremists, especially not the ones online. Why? The Democrats can't listen to them because these guys are going to cost Democrats the elections. Now, I've debunked that talking point repeatedly on this channel. But this is what the Democrats have made clear is going to be their strategy going forward. Join the Republicans openly in attacking anything that black people are demanding. I mean, look at Gavin Newsom and Rahm Emanuel. Both of these two are planning to run for president, and both of them have made it very clear that as far as they're concerned, their top priority is attacking all of these leftists who are making demands. And by doing so, they're revealing exactly what the black media has always said. They are nothing more than controlled opposition, which is no opposition at all. So the asinine stunts that DeSantis has been allowed to get away with haven't helped him politically. The phony good headlines that he got came from a compliant white media that's still trying to show that it can conjure magic and make people believe their fairy tales. DeSantis bought into his own phony hype and started thinking that he really was a political genius and that he could get away with anything because the white media was on his side. He screamed woke to the point that the word lost all meaning, even with other right-wing nuts who tried to swing on the coattails of his fake momentum. Sure, the white media couldn't deny how odious and blatantly racist DeSantis' policies are, but they pretended as if he was popular with voters when in reality Democrats had simply chosen not to do anything about him. But reality always gets the last word. Today, DeSantis doesn't talk about woke anymore. Who would have thought that just mindlessly repeating the word woke over and over again for years would simply put everyone to sleep? As it stands now, DeSantis has less chance of becoming president in 2028 than J.D. Vance, and given how he's almost single-handedly turned Florida from an affordable state to a basket case, there's probably more than a few on the white right who just want to see DeSantis gone. But one thing's for sure, no matter how the low IQ scumbag leaves office, it won't be quiet, and it definitely won't be clean. Good day, and be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors: Ronald Waits, Ikegas Dorset, Dean Ballantyne, Jerome Simmons, and Charles Hairston. Salute to them and thank you to everyone for listening, liking, and sharing this message. Black empowerment only exists because of you.